Okay, guys, welcome back. Continuing from where we left off. Um, so what we've done is we imported, just under 700 films now into our database. But as you can see, this page is huge, and we don't want to be loading that much data each time the page loads. So what we're going to do is we're going to include pagination or pagination. I don't know what the correct way to pronounce that is, but maybe someone will tell me. So if we go back to our list of things that we're working on, so we finished off importing films. We're going to add pagination next, or pagination. And if we look back at the home page for a second, I would say that maybe the correct amount of films to add, so that there was not going to be scroll or too much scroll. I'm going to prefer to have no scroll. I'm going to say that we should load no more than 10 films at once. Okay, this is going to be a short video because to paginate your documents is actually really simple. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import Django. We're going to import from the core app Paginator, and it's really straightforward. Okay, so the most fiddly part of this will be importing the pagination style from Bootstrap. Cool. So if we go back to our home page, we'll do this at the home page. Is once we've loaded all our films, we want to add a paginator function. Okay, and that will use that paginator method. And we want to paginate films. So we'll take the films variable that we had, and we want to paginate that. So we want to say, let's say 10 films per page. Now, really and truly, that's it, more or less. Okay, so I mean, after that, then what we want to do is we want to also pass through what page number we're on. Okay, so we're going to say page, let's do page number equals. Okay, so this is going to be, whenever the page loads up, what we want it to do is we want to check what page it's on. So you'll see, I'll explain to you how we do that in a bit. So we're going to use from the request, we're going to take a get request, and we're going to get the page. I think that's all we need. And obviously we're going to pass that through as context. Okay, and off camera, what I've done really quickly is I've just gone through the Django documentation really quickly about pagination, and just to double check. So I think after I've given the page number, or after we've requested, so we've got the page number from the request. So when a request is sent from the browser to which page we want to go to, we take in that request, and we receive that in our function, and then what we want to do is we want to return the page number that's been requested. So so we're going to add one more thing. We're going to add that as well. So let's take page object. I'll take it exactly as it is here. So we'll take page object, and I think for us page number, was it page number? We'll double check. And then we pass that page object as context. So here, I'll just paste that in. So page object, paginator, get page, which takes in that page number there. And then all we're doing now is we're going to pass that page object. Let's do that. And we'll call it page object. We'll do that. Page object is equal to page object. Yeah, so I think that's fine. So then the work that needs to be done now, this won't make it much difference to our homepage at the moment. Right, yeah, so if we go back to the homepage and we refresh, that shouldn't make any difference to our page just yet. So now what we wanted to do is we're going to include the pagination into our HTML template. So looking back at the documentation, the explanation for that is actually given here as well. So the template, how we have to edit the template, is actually given to us. So where we loop through the films, we're actually now going to loop through the page object. So contact in page object, and then this bit here will include the bit about what page we're on. So for example, this is the previous page, current page, and then this will be a button for the next pages. So let's go to our page template, our home page template, and we're going to make a slight change. So we're not going to say for film in films. We're actually now going to say for films in, I believe it was page, what was it? In fact, let's double check. So here it should be page object, I believe. So now we're only going to iterate. So this is going to limit how many items are on the page, because every time we send a request, we're going to pass through the page it's going to be. So I believe this is going to change to page object like that. Then what we'll just do is I'll just copy and paste this, and then we'll edit this later with the styling from something like Bootstrap. So we'll take this, and that's our page. So that's fine. I think what we'll do is we'll stick that underneath there. So let's just have a little look. Let's refresh. Oh, okay, right. So I do have 10 items. Clearly what I've done here is I've put that, you can see I've got the pagination in the wrong part of my loop. I should have done it outside the loop, and that's what's messed up the, that's definitely what's messed up the layout. Where's my for loop? There's my for loop. So where I stuck that, rookie mistake. Let's take that out, and that needs to go. Yes, that was our rows. So we're now going to stick that underneath our rows after our for loop. Save that and we refresh again. That's looking better. All right, cool. So now here it says page 1 of 70, and look, every time we go to the next page, it's loading the next page, and it's telling us what the next page is. Look, we've got first, previous, and we can go to the last page as well. And I added this one for measure just to, yeah, that's cool. So okay, that works. Now let's style this a little better. So again, let's the documentation works. So pagination works perfect. Let's align that to the middle, and then let's also add our Bootstrap. So here, let's take this. I think I can just align center, align content center. Will that work? That will not work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry too much about the layout, because I think I can find that here in Bootstrap's pagination section. There's not too much to change here. I'm not going to change what I've got. I'm just going to include the classes. Let's start with, if we go to here, let's start with that class for pagination. In fact, that's already there. So we've already got class for pagination. We'll get rid of that bit there about align center. So then we'll add the class for page item, span class. Yeah, so we'll change that to from page step links to page item, and then we've got page link. Okay, so these are our page links, and here, so yeah, that's our page. So we're just going to include the class. Should work. So here we've got page item, and then where we have that, we'll throw in our page links there. And if we do that to every single page link, that should be for the after, for the next buttons. We'll do that there as well. And then let's just test how that looks. So we go back to here, and if we refresh now, okay, we're kind of not there yet. We've got next. We don't have it in a row. We should all be in one row. So we're going to fix that as well. Maybe it's because I'm missing, yeah, I'm missing this bit here about the nav. So page navigation example. Go back to our code here, and let's throw that in. Let's get rid of that. Let's nest everything one in. Is that correct? That should be correct. Let's give it a go. Does that make a difference to us? Refresh. Not yet. In the example from Bootstrap, the navigation is put into a UL class. So it's put into a list, an unordered list. So if we go back to our code again, in my example, this is a div. So if I change that to UL, unordered list, and that one there, and if we save that, yep. And so the other rookie mistake I'm making here is that obviously if it's an unordered list, then what I should be having is list items, and instead what we have is span tags. So they should be turned to list items. So where does that end? That's interesting. Page item should be, what's the end of our list? Oh, right. Yeah, no. So if it's blah, 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 that list item, I suppose, ends there. But that will just be one big list item. That's not, I can tell you that's not right. So if there is a previous button, let's just put that there. If there is a previous button, if there's a previous page, then we want that to be there. And then I'm going to end that list item here. Let's end if. Actually, we're not going to end if. We're going to do an else. Right. So if there is a previous button, then we're going to have a button for first. Why am I doing that? Let's just unnest that like that. So that should go there. Page item will end there. And then what we'll do is we'll create another page item. So we'll have li, and that will have the same class as well. So class equals, oops, page item. And then we'll put our link on the inside. So that will go there. So if there is a first page, then we're going to have a button for the first button. Then we're going to have a previous button. Okay. So we're not going to end our if there. We'll come back to that. What we'll do is we'll take our else and we'll put that there. And then what we'll do is we'll nest that so things look nice and ordered. Then what we're going to do is if there isn't a first, then what we'll do is we'll still have the items. So we'll copy and paste that exactly as it is. So we're not going to have no items, but we'll make these disabled items. So we'll say, so these will be grayed out, disabled. Let's have one there as well, disabled. Okay, then, so that's our if ended. Then what we'll have is this will be the number. So again, I don't think I'm going to have that in a span. I think we're going to have that in a list item. And then we'll do if there's a next object, so we'll bring that back here. So if there's a next object, then what we're going to do is we're going to create a next object by saying, in fact, we could just copy that. If there is a next object, yeah, we'll just borrow that page item, and that will go there. And let's bring that forward. And then at the bottom here, say that should be a closed. In fact, we said that there was going to be two of those. Let's borrow that. So at the end here. Yep. There we go. Okay, and do we have page link? It should be page link. Item should be page link. Let's see how we look. Refresh. Okay, we're looking better. You can see now we have our first, previous, next items are there. If we go to the first, oh, so page number is less than 1. we've got an issue there. It's an empty page. Oh yeah, oh, cool. So let's go to, oh, functionality works. It doesn't let us go to 1, so we can't go to page 1. And we also need to deal with the fact that that there should be styled a little nicer. Okay, and to solve this issue, I'm actually going to link to a solution I found on YouTube, because this the way it works here in Bootstrap and Django, and the example given to us is there's a slight difference here. You can see actually see there's an issue that it says the page number is less than 1. So I'm going to use an example that I found online, and I'm going to make some changes to my current list. Okay, so I'm going to add a for loop here, and I forgot as well that I need to add the what to do if there is no next. So we're going to add another else here as well. We'll come back to that in a second. So here we're going to add something which will also add this will also add active items as well to our list. So we're going to say for n in what was it, page number, for n in, where are we, page object. So for n in page object dot paginator dot page range. So what this does is when we look at the page object, this references using dot notation the paginator class and then page range, and we're going to do an if statement underneath. We're going to say if page object dot number is equal to n, then what we'll say is that our current page let's move that way for a second. So then what we'll say is our current page we'll say is active. So our current page, okay, and that's why it wasn't showing up properly, because there should be a page item, and we'll change that from current to active. Let's end that if. And then we'll end our for as well. Okay, so while my other self is clacking away, let me just say exactly what's going on here. So within this for loop, what we're doing is we're taking n is going to be the page that we're going to be on, and using the page object, because what we've done is we've divided the 600-700 or so films into groups of 10, right? And basically n represents what page we're on. And what we're saying is if what we want to do is we want to say other than having previous and next buttons and then the first and last page, what we want is a couple of numbers in the middle. And so on line 50 here, what you can see happening is it says elif n is more than the page number. So what we're going to do is we're going to add up to 3 numbers before and up to 3 numbers after the current number, and that's if there is more than 3. So that will add the numbers before and after, and that's kind of going to be like a rolling number. Okay, so if we don't want those numbers, then they're going to be active. And no, sorry, if you look on line 48, that's going to represent the page that's active, so that one would be highlighted blue, or it would be a selected color. Okay, and we've removed that from line 51 because the other numbers, sort of like to the left or to the right of that, will not be active, so they're not going to be selected. Now what I've just done on page 48 is I've removed that text that says page number, or I'm about to. You can see it happening now. So we're removing the page number, and then we're just leaving a link. So these are going to be buttons, and it's just going to show the actual page number itself. So that will be our active link. Now, the interesting thing here is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go to 5, what you start seeing is from 5, 3 numbers less, or two up to 2 numbers will be displayed, and that will be rolling. So you can see the way that's done. And the reason for that is it's basically saying here that basically the page number for the non-active, so basically this is for the active number, but the non-active numbers, we're saying that we want to add page numbers, you know, sort of 3 less than and 3 more than the current n from whatever n is as a page item. So it's basically adding these before and after n. So yeah, that's quite a nifty way of doing it. And then the last thing we can do here is we still need to center. I think I saw that here in Pagination. So sizing, alignment, hopefully this will be the one. This is what we're looking for. Justify content center. That will be in our class. Will that solve our problem? That should be under our class Pagination. I believe it goes there. Let's give that a go. And if we go back to here, so now hopefully it's going to align our buttons to the middle. Perfect. That should be fine. I like that. Yeah. So if we go to first, oh, we still have the issue of first not working. The page number is less than 1. Okay, so Stack Overflow has come to my help. And what I can see from this example is a mistake I'm making is where I've added the else statement. The person here has written that the problem lies in the else, and I can see that this person did the same thing as me. So they copied and pasted where there's previous, and there's an else here. And what there is if it has a previous, then show that. If it hasn't got a previous, really that should be empty. So the example they've given here is that there should be nothing as a link. And even though we've added the disabled button thing, so that's our mistake, or my mistake. Let's go back here, and hopefully there's our else. So let's get rid of that. We don't need that. Let's add a comment there, and let's add a comment there. Does that solve our problem? Let's see. Okay, so we're on page 7. Refresh. Let's go to previous or first. That worked. And you can see these two are now grayed out. That seems to work. If I go to last, that seems to work. First, there's no previous. If I go to 2 and go to previous, it's all working very good now. Cool. Okay, so the only thing that's left now is if I go to next, sorry, if I go to last, I should be able to have some grayed out buttons as well. So I think that's the only thing I've left out. So here we're going to say if the object has a next, we need to add our else statement here as well. Say else, and literally we're going to take these exact items here as they are, and let's nest that nicely. And the thing we've just learned is these need to be disabled, and we're going to get rid of a link. So no link here. That should be that. And we'll do the same here. Oops. And we'll refresh. Good. So now we have the next icons, but there's nothing there. And it all looks good. I think we're good. Right, I did say this is going to be a short video, but let's throw in one more thing. Let's throw in that when we click on a film, so let's go to Die Hard, for example. Die Hard's not an example. Let's go to our last film. I did this one last. So if we go to our Spider-Man film, we can see here that we have animation, action, and adventure. And I wanted to separate those. So the way we're going to do that is we are going to go to, let's close our template, and let's go to our view. What we're going to do is we are going to pass through our page sorry, our film objects. Oh no, sorry, we're on the film detail. So when we look at the film detail, we're going to separate. I don't need to print that anymore. We're going to separate these items by comma, and then we're going to pass that through as another context item. So let's say, for example, let's say genres. We'll make a new variable called genres, and we'll take film. Yeah, so we'll take film, and then what we'll say is film dot. I believe it's just genre. Film dot genre. Then we'll say split, and we'll split by comma. So what this should now do is this should take the genre from the film. So in fact, let's print that out. Let's see what that looks like now. So let's say if I say print, and let's say film dot genre, it should print out the genre. Then if I print out genres, print out genres. So it should print out the genres now in a list, and we're not doing anything with that data yet. So let's save that. And if we refresh, nothing happens on the page. But if we go back to Django, we should see here, if I just bring this up a little bit. So, oh no, it's there. So you can see it's printed out the genres as it is, straight from the database. And now it's printed out my genres as 3 separate items in a list. So it has split that for me. And so now what I want to do is I don't need to print that out anymore. I've now got my genres separated. So I've now got to try and create tablets in my template. But first, let's pass that through to the template. So we'll call it genres, and that will equal. Do it there. Genres. Cool. So now if we go back to our template for film detail, we're now going to iterate. So where do we have, let's close that for a second. If we go to the top, where is our, there we are, we have our peels. I've been calling them tablets, peels. We want to run a for loop. So within this paragraph now, let's add a new line, and we'll add for loop. So we'll say for genre in genres, and then we'll end our, do that. Oops. So we're going to end for, and we're going to say do exactly the same thing, except we should be able to get rid of film. And so hopefully right now, it's now going to create for us 3 separate peels. Peels? Yeah, peels, not tablets. So we go back to our film, we'll refresh. Boom. Okay, now we've separated our genres. Okay, so that's this video. And so if I go to here, we've added pagination and we've separated genres by splitting commas. In the next video, we'll start creating some queries so that we'll list the top 250, or maybe what we can do is we can also list the worst items as well. So yeah, well, to do that actually, before we do that, it might be an idea if we throw in the navigation bar first. Oops, hold on. Yeah, so we'll throw in a navigation bar. And then what we'll do is on our navigation bar, we'll link to the top 250, and you know, then we could also add something like the bottom 250, bottom 250, based on votes. Obviously though, we're going to have to set up our voting feature actually before we do that. So, well, we'll add navigation bar next. Anyway, on to the next video. I'll see you guys then.